fighting for us. We ain't listening.
I got one. I'll walk with you. I'll walk with you. I got one question. Two-part question. The NBA is 80% black. Do you think that, you mentioned boss, do you think that they should have a black union? And two, do you think...
What are you talking about, a black union?
A black athlete for the NBA.
The NBA is 80% black.
But they don't control their own destiny.
Wait a minute. No.
Okay.
They could.
That's what
Chris Paul is a black man.
But he's not.
Michelle Roberts, but what?
But it's not a black union, meaning our needs are not being met.
That's insane, bro.
Articulate that.
That's insane. Chris Paul is a black man, highly intelligent, highly accomplished.
So was Derek Fisher prior to him?
Michelle Roberts is a black woman, highly accomplished. The Players Union, what sense would it make if you're an NBA player, why would you want to have a separate union filled with black NBA players and shove out the other NBA players? Why would you want to do that? You're all under the umbrella of the NBA.
In addition to.
No.
Why not?
Because that's all the money's in one pot. They all sharing it. They're all a part of it. You don't. It's not like white folks are making this money and black folks are making.
No, I'm not talking about the. I'm not talking about the
salary,
not the salary cap. I'm talking about.
I'm not talking about the salary cap either. I'm saying the NBA as a union is the NBA union. And see, we got, listen, when we talk about integration, we talk about.
That was my second part.
We talk about historically black colleges.
That's the point I want to get to.
How y'all feeling? Well, I ain't got time, brother. I gave you a lot of time.
I know. That's the point I want to get. That's
what I'm saying.
I was going to trickle down to that.
HBCUs are incredibly valuable. I'm a part of it.
You went to one.
I'm a part of it. Winston-Salem State University. But when you think about prestigious universities in this nation, you don't hear much about HBCUs. We talk about black pride and what have you. But what are we doing as black people to maintain and uplift that level of pride so the quality of education that's received from HBCUs, which is undeniable, by the way, is appreciated by corporate America the way that it should be? We can talk about the education all we want to, but at the end of the day, if corporate America isn't appreciating it the way it appreciates some of the prestigious white institutions, when you got to go out there and get a job, where's that getting you? And in no way am I discouraging anybody from going to an HBCU. I'm saying inhale, embrace, and understand the challenges that come along with it. I knew that me being from an HBCU was not going to stop me. I ain't give a damn what anybody said. I was going to take that education from an HBCU and I was going to propel myself to new heights because I was that dude. I believed in me enough. I was going to make that happen. I ain't give a damn what anybody said. But I didn't sit up there and go like this, well, you know what, let's make sure that we keep it black and we don't allow white folks to come to HBCUs, because then you're telling white folks, well, let's not allow blacks to come to the white institutions.
Bring the segregation back.
And then corporate America embraces those white institutions more than they embrace the HBCUs, and then black folks are struggling even more to get the quality opportunities that we may richly deserve. So when you think about isolating yourself as a community, understand while it seems ideal, because of how integrated we are corporately and economically, in the end we will end up costing ourselves. We wanted integration to exist because we wanted fair and equitable opportunities.
Was integration a good idea? Was Jackie Robinson a good idea?
In some people's eyes, maybe. In some people's eyes, not. You have to ask people far more intelligent than me that question. The way I look at it, I want access to what they have access to so I can do what they did. Plain and simple. I work for ESPN. There's white folks all over the place, but there's also black folks all over the place. So you've got folks that are having equal access potentially to the opportunities that exist, which is why I'm making the kind of money that will enable me to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to my alma mater. So if I wanted to sit up there and say, well, you know what, I just want to, we should have our own black union and we should work for, we should build our own business, we should do.
To have a seat at the table, though, to have a seat at the table.
Well, we do. Sometimes, listen, my boss on First Take is a black man. The boss of Sports Center is a black man. Okay? There are several executives who happen to be black that work for ESPN. And ESPN has a pretty damn good record with diversity. Now, the big boss may not be, But the fact of the matter is that, look, black folks are making up 13% of the population. Once upon a time, it was 14 to 15%. Once upon a time, we were the dominant minority. Now, that's not the case. It's the Latino community. Whose fault is that? Certainly, the system, to some degree, is at fault. But what about what we do to ourselves? What about what we do to each other? You got to accept responsibility for everything. I am in no way saying that anybody's innocent and they should be absolved.
That's a tough question, the chicken or the egg, though. Systemic racism or what we've done to ourselves.
I'm saying that
two different conversations.
You can focus on that, and that's fine. You wouldn't be wrong. But how productive is it?
I agree with that.
See, what I'm saying is this. Like, Joe Madison had me on the air a few months ago.
Sure.
Good brother that he is, didn't go by the reports where them lying bastards were out there lying on me all the time. He called me and asked me. Stephen A. said, racism doesn't exist. Here was the story. Anytime I go out and I give a speech, particularly at historically black institutions, I always say this line: racism doesn't exist. And then I pause, and then I say, obviously I'm lying. Of course it exists. But you, meaning you youngsters, don't need to be focused on that. Because the trials and tribulations that our ancestors, recent and long ago, had to deal with far exceeded the obstacles that you have now. And if they didn't have it as an excuse to deny their prosperity, you don't either. Of course it exists. God damn it, find a way to get over it and make it happen. Anyway, now you can complain, you can recognize it.
But haven't we always done that, though, Steve?
Wait a minute. Some of us. I'm talking about collectively.
Okay.
Of course, a lot of us as a community, we've done it, we've overcome it. I'm not denying that. I'm talking to the individual. For example, how I'm talking is treating somebody like your kid. You have a child. Your child comes home. He got F's. She got F's. Man, teacher racist. You don't want to hear that. Because you handle your business, get your grades. Handle your business.
Yeah.
I don't care, figure it out.
Naturally, yeah.
Now, obviously, we know it's unfair. We gonna find a way to try to deal with that teacher. We gotta talk. You can't be being prejudiced against my child, something like that. But to your child, you ain't saying that. Because you don't want to give them a crutch that they're going to be able to hold on to
of course.
as an excuse to hold them back.
So you're saying acknowledge the reality and...
I'm saying to acknowledge the reality, but to some, not all. Sometimes you don't need to know that. Sometimes you need to recognize, I got to overcome these obstacles. Because guess what? The world ain't fair. My boy tells me all the time, fear is a place where they judge pigs. It doesn't exist. Find a way to deal with it anyway. We so busy complaining sometimes about obstacles. It's about overcoming them. When you watch my man Steve Harvey, another good friend of mine, and the great things that he's doing in the community, you think he don't know racism exists? You think he don't know there's trials and tribulations he had to overcome? You trying to tell me the same Steve Harvey that you saw with Kings of Comedy, the same Steve Harvey that you saw in some of those movies, the same Steve Harvey that you listened to on the air for years doing radio, that's the same exact dude you see on national syndication, on television, with his afternoon show, with all of those women in the audience? Completely different dude. You know why? Because you adapt. And we don't teach enough of that.
Assimilation.
Adapt. Adapt. That's the way it goes. I gotta go, fellas.
All right, man.
Pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow.
I appreciate it, man.
Take it
Thank
easy,
you, brother.
man.
Thank you.
All right.
You already know what it is. It's Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe and the like button today.